Hey, everybody.
Welcome to the Maddog and Pino NFL review. Two drinking buddies shooting the shit about the NFL.
How you doing tonight, Pino?
Pino's all right. Even the losers get lucky sometime.
They watch the games, break it down for you, and deliver all you need to know from the weekend's action.
That means there will take about 16 games,
Yeah.
right? So half of them lost, right?
Yeah.
So 32 divided by 2, but
60.
14 teams have a loss.
What?
Die Hard fan? You'll get all the in-depth analysis behind the scores.
Devontae Adams had 175 yards last week. Well, the other guy, Nico Collins, had 107 yards this week.
Check out the big brain on Brett.
Or just a fan of the NFL spectacle? You'll get all the quirks, follies, and absurd moments from each weekend's action.
If he took a shotgun snap, by the time he caught it, he could smell the Starbucks on Micah Parsons' breath.
We got the shit kicked out of us from the moment they walked out of the tunnel.
So, join us now for the insights, laughs, and chaos that is the Maddog and Pino NFL review. Now your hosts...
I'm trying to look at the camera.
Hey, everybody. It's Maddog. I'm here with my partner in crime, Pino.
Pino P. What's up? What's crack-a-lackin'?
How are
Week 2 for Maddog and Pino, week 4 in the
you?
NFL.
Exactly.
We're the only weeks that matter.
We are now at the quarter pole, or kind of near the quarter
What used to be the quarter pole.
Exactly. Wait till they go to 18 games, and then we're going to be all screwed up. I mean, it'll be like the bye before, I don't know.
I'm going to have to do a math refresher course.
Exactly. I think, last week we did this kind of abnormal for us because we had to catch you up on the first 3 weeks of the season. And we didn't go game by game. We'll do a little bit more of that this time. But I think, I thought it was time to pull back the curtain a little bit on the Maddog and Pino show.
I just closed the curtain. Now we're pulling it back?
He literally did just close the curtain.
Here in the studio.
Here in the studio. But, mostly we don't really have any original material. I mean, we do, but...
Oh, come on. We synthesize shit.
Exactly. So we watch everything, we listen to everything, and then we synthesize it in a way that speaks to our audience. So that's kind of the service we provide you. But it got me thinking this week that, you know what? It's time for a Maddog and Pino original. So I did my own primary research on this, and I thought I'd, premiere the first Maddog and Pino original.
Wow, that's pressure. I got to come up with an original next week.
Exactly. Can't wait for that. All right, so the jumping off point was Steelers. We'll get to the game. Steelers, Colts. Minka Fitzpatrick did everything right on a unnecessary roughness. I guess it was defenseless receiver. He put shoulder-to-shoulder contact. It wasn't like 4 steps and hit him, like nothing. So that was like kind of like bad call, but that happens every week in the NFL. The thing that got me like really spinning a little bit was all these old-time Pittsburgh Steelers came out and said like there's no way we can play in today's NFL. And I'm like, you know what? It's just another, indication of how pussified the NFL has become. So then I did my own personal research. I swear to God, this is true.
You're going deep on this.
I actually do write notes, and I have to check them this week. All right, so 286 players in the NFL are on injured reserve right now. So like literally almost 10 players per team are on injured reserve. Okay, so the rules have changed. There's a lot of them that are eligible to return, but it still struck me as like, how many of those players in 1970 would be on injured reserve?
10 of them.
First of all, they'd be like driving trucks if they were
right.
If they decided not to stop playing. But anyway, they like there's just this weird thing where like and again, I don't want to discount the injuries these players go through, but player safety is up and injuries are up at the same time, and
counterintuitive.
Yeah, I'm kind of trying to reconcile all of that. And the amount of players on IR is just like, I don't know. So it just got me to think a little bit about like how pussified are we going to make this eventually? Like we always talk about jokingly, that's going to move to like
Flag
football or 7-on-7s or whatever. But I think we're like kind of headed that direction, and like again, for whatever reason, all these players are on IR, and these teams are decimated. Like there's, I'll read you the top 5. Dolphins have 15 players on IR. Detroit has 14. The Steelers have 13. The Rams have 12. Carolina has 13. I missed them. But anyway, so like that's fucking crazy. You can have 15 players on IR and field in an NFL team anymore. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, that's why they expanded the practice squad, right? I guess.
I guess in theory. But,
yeah, but like back in the day, like Ronnie Lott, literally, didn't he cut off his pinky or part of his pinky to go back in the game?
I think so.
And we know Roethlisberger. He was famous for getting knee surgery at halftime, coming out and playing the second half. Yeah, like the softer it gets, like from the game perspective, the softer everyone else gets, right? So, hey, I got a naggy,
It just seems like there's just a weird kind of downward spiral here happening. That's not going to. It's again, I think the end resolution is flag football or whatever. I don't know. Just like I don't know. Anyway, got me thinking, and I thought I'd share. Oh, and by the way, this isn't even like the QBs haven't even been hit yet. Like, remember last year we're like, oh my God, there's 70 QBs that started the game.
Right.
Every team except for, I counted them, except for Miami, Green Bay, Carolina, because they benched them. The Colts only coming this week. Those are only teams that have not started their starting quarterback. So like it's like that. It hasn't even hit the quarterback kind of yet. So I don't know, man.
Well, it's interesting. You know, what's interesting. Like you said, like maybe it was a defenseless receiver.
Yeah.
Call like that was the personal foul.
I think that was a call.
What's interesting he's still defensive if he caught the ball. Right. So there's kind of the shit.
Yeah, right.
Like if you look at it from that aspect, then you got to call it even when he makes a catch.
Yeah, right. No. And what is a safety supposed to do? Like, are you supposed to jar the ball loose? You're supposed to allow him to catch it and
you're going to pull the flag. That's what you got to do.
Exactly. All right. So that was. Thank you for patronizing me for.
No patronizing. That's a good take, and a lot of research went into that. It's a whole page almost. I'm looking at the notebook.
So. I listened to last week's podcast. I gotta stop saying so. Anyway,
you shouldn't be saying that on the air. You should critique yourself.
We'll edit that out.
Yeah, I found a lot of chinks in my argument. Trailing off. So I'm going to try and finish my sentences strong as opposed to trailing off.
There you go. Okay. Any other opening comments you had from looking at the week?
I just wanted to, like, from a broadcast perspective. You know, we've talked for how shitty a lot of them are. Like the Sunday night, Tirico, happy shit. Hey, everyone's great. Athletic training staff. 5th-year man out of Rutgers. Like, he went to as many classes at Rutgers as I did at Maryland, which was 2, I think, in 2 semesters. But it hit the low, and probably there's some bias. I don't know that there's bias in this for me. Thursday night, Giants-Cowboys.
Yeah.
I was yelling at the TV, like, remember that Celtic?
Well, that's not unusual. I mean,
no, about the announcing.
Oh, okay.
Amongst other things. But remember that guy Johnny Most who like did radio for the Celtics?
Yeah,
like, he was smoking like 2 packs a day. No, 2 packs during the game.
During the game, exactly.
And I recall there was something went on in the playoffs against the Pistons, and he was like, "It's disgusting, despicable." And that's what I was like, this is the most disgusting, despicable broadcast I've ever. It was as if the whole thing was, hey, CeeDee Lamb apologized. Oh, now CeeDee's getting his catch. Oh, let's look at CeeDee. It was as if I was listening to the local radio broadcast in Dallas with Al and Herb Street. Like Herb Street with his fucking dog in the booth. It was just... It was a scrimmage for the Cowboys. They never even showed the Giants sideline.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird.
And Al's losing. He's losing his fastball. At least I think twice. He called MetLife Giant Stadium.
Yeah, no, he is losing his fastball for sure. But he is 79, 80 years old. I mean,
But that gets me to we talk about all these the cool guy cliches. The Teddy is
Ted, I heard Teddy 5 times this
right.
weekend.
Teddy's like the natty now.
Yeah, no, I know.
Using his legs. What else do you use to fucking run the football? Like you gotta, you know what I'm saying, to make you sound like you really fucking know what's going on.
I understand what you're saying.
But that broadcast was disgusting.
Yeah. Well, it's not the only one you're going to see this year. But again, like, why is that? So, I mean, New York's the number one media market in all of the country.
Yeah, but Cowboys are America's team, man. So I'm telling you, the memo went out to sell this. Well, in theory, that's what they call themselves, right? And Jarrett was there with Steven.
Yeah.
I think the word went out, man. You got to sell the Cowboys hard.
All right. Well,
so that was horrible.
We'll find out. They play the Steelers playing this weekend.
Oh, you're watching the
watching on TV. I'll be there.
You'll be there physically. But it was horrible. Horrible.
I will come back and
we'll get to that. But just I don't want to be redundant every week going on about the pregame shows.
Yeah, but they were bad.
Those two broad. I'm going to call them. All right, I'm going to be really misogynistic. Those two dames on NFL Network on Sunday. Yeah. Horrible.
Yeah.
That Colleen, the short one, is like she sings everything. So we got Minnesota going to Green Bay. Jordan Love's back. That's how I'm excited to see that. And then this week, the Cynthia gal, Dame, had to announce on the air that she was going to the Charger game later that day.
All right.
As if anyone gave a fuck. Of course you go to a Charger game. You're at NFL Network. It's across the street.
Where else you going?
Yeah.
I think you're going to the Cleveland game.
Yeah, exactly. Just, I mean, they're horrible.
The only other opening comment I had was, and normally we talk about this when it's getting closer, but the trade deadline's November 5th. And there's a lot of teams, and I'm going to hit 2 of them right now, that we are going to be tanking for someone. Remember last podcast, we're like, tank for who?
Right.
And of course, we didn't do that research this time. At least I didn't. I don't know.
Well, I texted you 2 weeks ago. I was like, hey, Jin's got a tank for Arch.
That would take a lot of tanking. That'd be 2 years of tanking.
Yeah. Well, they've been tanking the last 5.
So Devontae Adams, we got because that's a non-game thing. Devontae Adams tweaks his hamstring, or at least that's what he says, I guess. I don't know. And then decides not to play. Was that before or after he demanded the trade? No, before. Okay. So he didn't play, and then the next, so that's Thursday. Game happens Monday or Tuesday. He requests a trade. And there's clearly something going on with him and Antonio Pierce. And you can't fault Devontae, really, because who the fuck would want to play with those 2 quarterbacks right now? But anyway, so he's on the trading block. So that's going to be the first piece that moves. And then I think a lot of the trade deadline is not going to be the Major League Baseball trade deadline, but it's going to get much more active these days. Or because we'll have a lot more injuries. More injuries, right? And just again, what I framed this next segment called the shenanigans, the Florida train wreck. Okay. So if you're the Miami Dolphins, wait, could I say? I want to go back to Devontae Adams. Yeah, sure. He's like the Teflon Don. He's like Teflon Adams because You can say whatever he wants. He hasn't he's a team guy, good guy. Doesn't not a diva wide receiver. Yet for the last 3 years, it's so he wants out of somewhere, wants to go somewhere else, on the down low kind of thing. Right, and everyone still loves him. Right, he's still like a respectable. Right, he's not like a diva. And he still gets the Taco Bell commercials. Yeah, right. Those Taco Bell commercials are good. They're good. Make me want to run out and get one of them bean and cheese burritos. 99 cents. At the drive-thru? Make that shit for 99 cents. Seriously. The bag should cost 99 cents.
So where do you think he's going to wind up?
So obviously the number one landing spot would be the Jets, I guess.
He's probably going to wind up in Kansas City.
No,
then it's game over.
There's no way they would trade him in the division. So I think that's off the table. So number one would be the Jets. Number two would be the Saints. Although I'm not even sure the Saints really need him, but because anyone needs to let the Anaheim.
Right.
And then the number three destination, I think, is the Steelers. The Steelers are aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
They're not going to overpay for him, but they would find a way to fit him in the salary cap or whatever.
And he wouldn't be demanding shit with Coach Tomlin.
No, and he'd be like he'd take he'd take George Pickens under his wing and say, "Here's how you be a real diva. You wait until you're like 32, and then you do it."
Right? Yeah. You wait, like when you're on the downslope.
Exactly.
You be a good citizen prior to
Until then, exactly. All right, you want to get into the games?
Let's get into the games.
All right.
You want to start with, what are you starting with?
I'm going to start with, there were five. I'm sorry. I always forget about the Seahawks, by the way.
It's like they don't exist. I don't know. Like, I mean, they put the games on at 1:00. It's not like they put them on at
exactly
11 at night.
Exactly.
I mean, Seattle is in the continental United States.
Yes, they are.
Last I checked.
Anyway, the first time I made this list, I put there were 4 unbeaten teams. There actually were 5 going into the season, or going into this week. The Vikings, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Steelers, and the Seahawks. All like coincidence of NFL scheduling, all of which played on the road this week. So I thought.
So you're saying the fix was in? NFL knew they'd all be undefeated and put them on the road when they made the schedule?
For what it's worth, last year we had 1 4-0 team. That was it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who was that?
I can't remember who it was. Doesn't matter, really. It kind of does matter, but I forgot.
It wasn't the Giants. It's probably the Chiefs. How did it be the Chiefs?
No, the Chiefs lost
okay.
Chiefs lost opening week.
Maybe the 49ers.
Yeah, maybe it was 40. All right, anyway, it doesn't matter. All right, so all of those teams were playing on the road, as I said, and I'll start with the Vikings-Packers first. The Vikings go into Lambeau.
The frozen tundra.
And we've talked about Sam Darnold hitting level 4 and 5 at this point, but no.
First half, he was back to level 1.
First half, so they ran out to a 28-0 lead, mostly because Jordan Love was. I don't know how you get rusty after sitting down for 2 weeks, but he was pretty rusty. Threw 2 or 3 picks in the first half, and I actually have him on my fantasy team, and I was like, oh, I made a good decision. By the end of the game, I'm like, what the fuck? Because he ended up throwing 4 touchdown passes and scoring also.
I mean, it turned out to be a 2-point game, right?
Yeah, but there was a garbage touchdown at the end. But,
there was, okay.
But the other story here was, so Jordan Love showed his rust for whatever reason, and then...
Love is all you need.
And then he lit it up in the second half. He threw for 4 touchdowns. Again, the 3 picks. But anyway, the real reason they lost the game is they have this field goal kicker. You remember Mason Crosby always missing these field goals, and they finally put him to pasture.
Right. This guy number 44, right?
Number 44.
Out there like with the fullback number, trying to kick field goals.
It turns out he should maybe get some time to fullback.
Meanwhile, everyone else is making field goals. They get to midfield, they're in field goal range the rest of the league.
This guy can't make it within fucking 40. Anyway, he missed like 3, maybe 4 field goals, so who knows why he's still on the team. But anyway, I think all that distracts from the Vikings. Like Sam Darnold, he did throw an interception, but only 1. That's very good for him. And he threw another 3 touchdown passes. He leads the NFL in touchdown passes, probably close to that in yards.
He's got to like yards per air yards per completion. Because he throws some, they throw some bombs on that team. They dial it up.
And they just activated T.J. Hawkinson. Not activated, but like his window to come back or whatever. Okay. So they're going to just get stronger. But again, I'm still waiting for this Sam Darnold. You know what? Turn into a pumpkin. Maybe it's like around...
Oh, Halloween.
Maybe it's around Halloween.
Oh, nicely done. Trick or treat.
All right. So the other game that everyone was looking forward to for the weekend was actually the Sunday night game. Bills-Ravens. Bills are undefeated. Ravens you kind of thought found their footing against Dallas last week, or no? Am I missing a week? Anyway, doesn't matter.
It was Dallas,
Dallas.
but even though they blew the big lead and it was
exactly.
yeah.
Right. So, and the Bills will look unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
And then first carry of the game,
King Henry with that squirrel.
King Henry.
We haven't talked about him. He is a bad motherfucker.
Man, he sure is. And did you see it on the broadcast? They compared him to compared his running style, and they were showing clip by clip to Eric Dickerson. He runs a lot like Eric
he does?
Dickerson.
Yeah, because he runs straight up and down.
Man.
You know what? It'd be cool if he got the neck roll.
Exactly.
That ED used to wear. That's what I want to see.
Exactly. But anyway, King Henry had 199 yards rushing. He actually, I think, caught some. I think he had some more in the passing game, and this game was never close. The Bills got exposed. I'm not sure if other people can do that, but it wasn't even a game.
Right, and after that game, Lamar's the greatest again.
Of course.
And I'm tired of goddamn Ray Lewis with the, because he in the waiting all day for Sunday. Ray Lewis was the guy talking before the song this week. Meanwhile, there's a murderer somewhere on the loose in Atlanta. But he's on NBC primetime.
Exactly.
All right, go figure.
And then, of course, the other game that was, one of the undefeated teams was the Steelers. The Steelers played the Colts, lost 24-27. And I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I'm so sick of watching the Steelers, slow starts. They were down 17-0. Before they knocked out the quarterback, and
But then you got Joe Flacco. Dude can still deal.
Exactly. Yeah. No shit. Well, I think anyway. I'll come to that in a second. So but then they kind of had to say, Justin Fields, you gotta win us a game, and we saw all the good and bad of Justin Fields. Justin Fields played literally, I said it last week. He looks like the real deal.
Yep. Yeah, he was throwing the ball great.
There's always going to be one or two bonehead plays that cost us the game. One was, he admits it, but there was a snap that he wasn't ready for. That
turnover?
That was actually, no, that was just took us out of field goal range.
Okay.
Then he scrambles around backwards 20 yards and not even being tackled, fumbles the ball. And that took us out of field goal range. So anyway, it's the good and the bad, but he threw for 350 yards and ran for 60 and had 2 touchdowns. So I don't know. Maybe I don't think they can coach that out of him. But but the most important thing is, if we're going to win, it's our elite defense, and our elite defense can't let Joe Flacco carve him up for 200 yards in a quarter and a half.
Right, but it's amazing at his age, and he comes up last year in Cleveland.
Yeah, no, same thing.
He was dominating.
And he's starting this week. So look out. Colts are going to make a run to the playoffs.
There they go. Jim Irsay is going to hit the pill bottle again. So, hey, I should have brought this up when you were talking about the Mika Fitzpatrick penalty. Doesn't it seem like every big play in the NFL, there's a flag?
Yeah, it does. It does. And I think it's I think it's just what's that word? Anyway,
Confucius say.
Because when it happens, it's they don't know what the play's going to end up with.
Right.
But but it does happen. I'm agreeing with you, because it does happen all the fucking time.
It's so bad. Any of the shitty announcing crews you listen to. But let's check for a flag.
Exactly.
Or they got to say no flags down.
Exactly.
That's how bad it is when they got to say no flags down.
I've obviously noticed that, but you pointed it out. Yeah, why would you say no flags? No, it's a touchdown.
Because it happens all the fucking time.
Exactly.
Let's check for flags on a goddamn punt return that goes for big yards.
Exactly.
There is going to be a flag. There's going to be a flag on that. Laundry, as the cool guys call it. Laundry all over the field.
The Teddy. Teddy got called back because there was some.
Right.
All right, and then the fifth. I don't even want to talk about this game, because the fifth and final undefeated team was the Chiefs. They're 4-0, and they went into the SoFi Stadium down the street and won 17-10. I don't even care how they won.
Right.
It's another one-score game. Of course the Chiefs are going to win.
Absolutely. Speaking of the Chiefs, you think there's trouble in paradise?
I don't. He's
Like his
he
lady
started
hasn't
playing.
His lady hasn't been there 2 weeks in a row at his game. You would think in L.A.
Yeah, exactly. That would be like, where is she? Is she touring? I think they're touring.
I don't know. She hoped make him and his brother famous, and that's its shelf life is over.
We're gonna wake up and it's gonna Swifty Management Company. First two clients are gonna be Travis and Jason. All right, so I'm going to go from the undefeated to what appear to be the two biggest train wrecks of the season. All right.
Okay.
So the first is the Dolphins. So I mean, I feel bad for them that their starting quarterback got hurt. They're one of the only teams that they pointed out at the top. But to go into the season with Skylar Thompson and
no backup plan to a guy who is concussion prone.
So it's all there. We talked about that last week on the podcast. But that team, again, if you believe those IR numbers it gave you, they have the most in the NFL. They have 15 players. Jalen Phillips, yeah, that's his name. Jalen Phillips just went on the IR this morning, so I don't even know if that's including the 15.
Oh, yeah, we're not on the net number yet.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll get there.
But so that team is done, right? I mean, I guess if you're a Dolphins fan, the only thing you can hope for is like they're playing the Patriots this week. All right, who knows? Maybe they can win that one, and then maybe Tua rides in and fucking saves the fucking season because that offense without Tua is like
horrible.
Like it's
horrible.
It's abysmal. Like you can't even watch it.
Oh, abysmal. I like that. They are abysmal. They're shitty too.
Yeah, that's it. So anyway, the Dolphins lost to Tennessee 22-14. I can't even find this.
You know how you know they're in deep shit this year?
Yeah.
Coach, he looked more disheveled this week at his post-game presser than I've ever seen it. McDaniel.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he's going to be not being the South Beach drug dealer, but he's going to be going to visit them soon. In his Viore slacks. Valoria, however you say it.
Oh, by the way, you know what? Which makes me feel happiness, actually. Mason Rudolph came in. Didn't do shit, really, statistically, but steadied the ship, which isn't surprising after Will
He was well prepared.
Will Levis does all this fucking crazy shit. Steadied the ship and let him on 4 straight scoring drives, and they win the game.
That's a guy, I could tell you, Will Levis, I could say right now, he's a bust.
Yeah.
That's a horrible draft pick. And his antics on the side, he's always way too fucking... He must irritate everyone on that team.
I think so.
You just watch him on the sideline, and you get the eye paint.
Exactly.
And he's sweating, and he's fucking... Everything is at like hyper... alpha speed, or like alleged alpha speed.
Yes, and not looking good. All right, so I called it the Florida train wreck because the other train wreck in Florida is Jacksonville, and they I don't need so they all right. So they barely lost to the Texans, which is a moral victory, I guess.
Admirable.
In fact, C.J. Stroud, who was C.J. Stroud again, but he. He threw a touchdown pass with 18 seconds left to win the game. Anyway, Jacksonville's 0-4.
Like we said last week that Peterson would be gone.
Yeah,
I'm surprised. I guess it's 0-5.
And he last week after our podcast, he's like, everything's on the table. I'm like, really, everything? Like what?
What, benching the Prince at $60 million a year?
Exactly.
Really? You're going to do that?
So so Jacksonville's in a world of hurt. So you know what? This is a good segue to the Thursday night game.
The Thursday night game with that disgusting broadcast. So here's what I'm going to say. So it was all you heard was Cowboys couldn't stop the run, and they couldn't run the ball.
Right.
They ran the ball, and the Giants averaged 1.1 yards per carry in that game.
I hate when that shit.
But I'll say this: I thought Dimes played well. He missed a couple deep balls that he probably could have hit, but he did have those Johnny Unitas high tops on again.
Yep.
So that was cool. There were 2 horrific penalties. There was a penalty early in the game that wiped out a big gain that would have had the Giants at like the 15, give or take 10 or 15, where they called a face mask penalty on the personal foul face mask on the Giants tight end.
All right.
Showed the replay. The Cowboy defender was pulling on his face mask, and his hands were on the dude's chest. They totally fucking botched the call. No, never attempted. It was horrible. And then there was another one, some kind of half-ass holding penalty down the sideline.
So it was Ruff's fault?
I think they had a lot to do with it. I mean, these two plays made a big difference. You know, momentum is.
I do.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
I think Dimes is playing pretty well.
Yeah. So again, you're gonna.
He's not the quarterback of the future, I don't think, but
well, it depends where you're drafting, I would assume.
Well, yeah. I mean, it could be. Yeah, they only have one win right now. that could be. They could sustain that for quite a while.
Well, all right, I'll chime in. From what I've seen, well, first of all, what I've seen from the Cowboys this year is like, who the fuck knows? And I'm putting my money where my mouth is because we play them this week. But like, same thing for the Giants. Like they look like pretty good most of the time, which is better than most teams.
Other than the Minnesota game,
yeah, that's what I
the
mean.
opener. But everyone's getting rolled by Minnesota.
I know.
So that doesn't look so bad.
Exactly. Who knows?
They played well against Washington. Obviously, they played well. They got the win against Cleveland, and they played well enough to win. You got to score touchdowns.
Yeah.
Although, unless you're playing the Giants, you don't have to score touchdowns. Just kick 7 field goals. You know, we kick 5, and it's not enough. And that dude he bounced back. I forget his name, the new kicker. But he was 5 of 5.
All right, there you go. They didn't cut him. That's good.
But you had to hear about that Cowboys kicker. What's his name? 17.
Yeah, Aubrey. This guy will break the record, though.
There's no doubt. Like they get to midfield, and it's like, oh, they're in his range.
Exactly.
Like, what the fuck? So I one of the things I should have said earlier. I have no doubt those uprights are getting closer next year.
Yeah,
because the amount of field goals from defenses don't have a chance. Like they give up 8 yards.
Right.
It
seems like the NFL has this this when you change a rule in baseball, it's like, oh my god, like you can't, like Babe Ruth didn't have to do that.
Right.
The NFL's like, fuck it.
Yeah, no, that's how we get the dynamic kickoff, electric football.
So, you think Devin Hester was? Think Devin Hester would be in the Hall of Fame? Right. Jesus Christ. All right.
So it's disappointing. I'll just close on this with the Giants. Like they kind of.
Who do they play next week?
Seattle. In Seattle.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was gonna say if it's at home, you never know. Coming up Monday night.
It happens multiple times in a year.
Yeah.
They kind of suck me back in in a very clandestine fashion and then kick me right in the nuts. Kick me in my Giants nuts. Big blew my ass.
So speaking of the Seahawks, I said at the top that I forgot them. I forgot about their game. So, which is one of the best games of the weekend, actually. On Monday night, Seahawks were again one of the undefeated teams on the road. They went into the Lions, lost 42-29. The thing about this game was Jared Goff. I mean, all right, so he was 18 for 18. That's an NFL record.
Right.
I forget how many throwing touchdown passes he had, but he actually
caught one.
Caught one too. So
but didn't it look like he was tiptoeing into that route?
Oh my god!
When he caught it, it was like his feet were barely
doing the Fred Flintstone.
He must have like small feet as well as the small hands that they used to bitch about when he first got drafted. Because he looked a little tentative, but he made the catch.
He did.
It was wide open. That team, watching all these teams play, that Lions team is fast. They're like a fucking track team.
They are, but their defense is, I would say, a little iffy because Geno Smith lit him up. I mean, and Geno's got weapons, everything else, but and some of that was playing catch up, whatever. But and maybe it's injuries, I don't know. But coming into this, the Seahawks D was like Seahawks D is going to be, Mike McDonald,
right? Top of the heap. King of the Hill.
And they actually did like shut down people the first 3 weeks, but this was just a track meet the whole game.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, those Lions, the running backs and receivers, when they catch the ball, quote unquote, in space,
Yes,
and they all count to yards after catch, right? Like, so when Goff throws a crosser 15 yards, but it goes for 70, they get 70 minus 55 yards. 55 yaks.
Yes.
Right? Which is, yaks. I thought yards after catch was like you break a few tackles.
No,
you know.
It's when you catch the ball.
But do you think Dan Campbell overreacted to selling his house? Because I'm sure everyone loves him again. Yeah, they lost one game and he felt threatened.
They still know where he lives.
Yeah, I mean, that's not going to be a secret. But he sold the house in one day.
All right.
I wonder where he's living now.
Let's put it on the internet.
Yeah. Let's dox him. Isn't that the word? Dox? We'll dox him on X or Twitter. Why? I thought of that today. Why does no one refer? The company changed its name to X.
Yeah.
Yet everyone still says Twitter.
I know. That is funny. All right. Anyway, let's go back to football. Eagles 16 at the Buccaneers 33.
Fly Eagles fly. Fucking I hate that coach.
I know. So all right. So I have all these notes about Baker. Baker bounced back. He lit it up. But Hurts and they have no pass rush. They have no pass defense, and that's a way to beat them every week, obviously. But then how does Sirianni survive? Like,
seriously.
I mean, all right. So Peterson's going to get fired first. Sirianni, maybe he'll last the season.
The guy in Carolina will get fired.
No, because
that guy fucking fires everybody.
Exactly.
He's going to call one of us to coach that team.
So what do you think? What do you think Belichick's doing? Belichick's is like just saying, all right, well, if one of these jobs comes open, that's the one I want. Like, I've already done all the research on the team. Like,
I think he wants to coach Giants.
Oh yeah,
he's got a self. I think he's kind of almost stated that, right? Does he go to Philly? I don't know, but if they don't,
that would be interesting.
If they don't make the playoffs or advance past the first round, and they still have Hurts is turning it over every game now.
Yeah, I know. A lot.
He probably has more turnovers than Danny Dimes.
Yeah, this year he does.
Yeah,
for sure.
Right now.
Yeah.
I think if either one of those scenarios, is that the correct word? Yeah. Sirianni's gone. And it couldn't happen to a nicer guy because there's never been a bigger dick on the sideline in a head coaching role.
He is a dick. I agree. And, listen, who's not a dick on the sidelines is Todd Bowles. So I'm actually happy to see him doing well. And the Buccaneers are, that division we all laughed at last year, that division is like good this year.
Yeah, and Baker is lighting it. He's having,
yeah, he is.
He found his spot.
He did. All right, so going to that division, actually, nice segue. The Saints 24, the Falcons 26. I didn't watch a lick of this game. I know you didn't either because it was in a dome, which even if it was played on either stadium, it'd be in a dome.
I'm going to shock you on this one.
You actually watch it?
I had the multi-view on at one point.
Oh my God, you got the multi-view going.
Yeah, you told me how to do that. I'm mixing and matching games. And when I saw the Falcons had their old red Steve Bartkowski helmets on, I'm like, I'm tuning in. And they also have my favorite, the best name in the NFL. What's his
Young Hoku?
Young Hoku.
Exactly.
Like, he won the game for him, right? He kicked the game-winning field goal.
He kicked the 58-yard field
I
goal.
love that guy.
But
they should go. They should stay with those red helmets. They're badass.
They are badass. I agree. The Falcons, like the Kirk Cousins, experiment. I don't even want to call it experiment. Whatever is still playing out. So the Falcons won despite not scoring an offensive touchdown. Their defense scored a touchdown, and their special teams scored a touchdown.
How'd the special teams on a punt return? It couldn't have been on a dynamic kickoff.
No,
that's what we would have heard about all.
It had to be a punt return.
Yeah,
maybe a block
with no flags.
So I don't know. And the Saints, who we were saying, oh my God, they're like the most prolific offense we've ever seen, can barely score points now. So I don't know.
All right, so maybe they do. Back to your Devontae Adams sake, maybe they do need him.
Yeah, maybe they do need him. You're right.
Everyone wants Devontae, and he's best friends with Derek Carr, right? That's why he was with the Raiders in the first place. Because they went to Fresno State together.
No, he wants to go to the Saints or the Jets.
Fucking Jets.
He'll end up on this. All right, speaking of the Jets. So I don't even know what to say about this game. I literally wrote down the score and then wrote a big question mark. Broncos 10 at the Jets. They were on the road in Jet Stadium. Fireman Jim or whatever.
Right, Fireman Ed.
Is fucking
he's a
rallying
clown.
the troops, whatever. 10-9?
With A-Rod as the quarterback, they scored 9 points?
So I would just I don't even... Bo Nix against Aaron Rodgers, I'm I don't care what this point spread is. I'm betting the Jets. Right? I'm especially when it's on the road.
At MetLife.
And especially when I saw Aaron Rodgers from last week, and he looked like the old Aaron Rodgers. So all I saw, the only part of this game I saw was Aaron Rodgers sitting on a thing, shaking his head or whatever, looking like, and oh, by the way, it's the Nathaniel Hackett, Sean Payton fucking thing.
Right, tree. Tree.
Exactly. So, how the fuck did this happen? Did you watch the game?
No, I didn't watch the game, but I bits and pieces, right? But when I saw they're trailing, I tuned in for the end to make sure they lost. Because I'll say this: they're the most arrogant fucking team and the most arrogant fan base in the NFL that's never won anything. Well, wait. Here's why. Leading up to this game, now they're 2-2. They were 2-1.
Right.
And Rodgers was lecturing everyone about how you handle success. You would have thought they fucking clinched the AFC East the way they were talking. They were 2-1.
That's funny.
How you handle success, and every Sauce Gardner, Bryce Hall, whoever the receivers, they're all the fucking best guys ever to come down the pike in the last 3 years. It hasn't translated into wins.
That's for sure.
Then Norman Julius Esiason, University of Maryland Terp QB.
Yeah, I know.
I guess on his radio show on The Fan in New York this week was
he used to do it with Mookie.
He said, who's Mookie? Carton?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, okay. Oh, look at the inside info. Doxing his ass right now.
We're listening to this deep in the podcast.
We could have found him in the penitentiary a couple of years ago. But Boomer was saying that Rodgers, you can tell by looking at the body language, Rodgers has no respect for Salah.
Yeah.
They have no relationship.
Right.
So there's your fall guy right there. But I'm telling you, a week ago at 2-1, hey, we gotta handle success. We gotta learn how to
You might want to wait until you're
3
6
weeks
and 2
into the season. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So good for them that they're 2-2.
All right. So,
but now then they're going to get Devontae Adams, and it'll be back to the Super Bowl. They're the favorites. Blah blah blah.
Who knows? Well, you know what? That's because we're only at the quarter pole. There's a lot of football left to be.
There sure is.
All right. Bengals. I don't even know why I highlighted this game. Bengals 34 at the Panthers 24. Here's why. It was the Andy Dalton.
The Red Rocket.
Exactly.
Yeah. A Red Rifle. A Red Rooster.
And obviously the Panthers are playing better under him, but and they kept it close. Every time the Bengals would score, the Panthers would score, but whatever. The Bengals finally got on the board. The win-loss record, they're 1-3 now. I don't know.
I don't think they're that good.
I don't think so either.
I don't think this is the usual Bengals get off to the slow start kind of thing.
I told you, on the last podcast, I'm there's too much discontent in that team.
Too much drama. One thing we didn't even cover in the off-season shenanigans or training camp last week was Joe Burrow as Slim Shady. As Eminem with the blonde hair. Yes. My name is what? My name is what? And Dr. Dre said.
Okay. Yeah, I don't even know why we covered that game. Before Mad Pup tunes out, we should at least talk about the Browns and the Raiders.
Mad Pup, my teeth are clean this week. No, nothing in between.
The Raiders actually won at home, 20-16 against the Browns. So they actually did me a favor. They beat the Browns.
That helps.
And I don't think I have to worry about the Browns actually, but. And they did it all behind a defense and a running game, and I guess they're pulling a page out of the Steelers.
Yeah, who even quarterbacks them?
Gordon Minshew still.
Oh yeah, Gardner Minshew, the guy
Gardner
took a hammer to his hands to get an extra year of eligibility in college.
Exactly.
That's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, don't fuck with Gardner, man.
He's taking a hammer to his own hand. Imagine for you if he took a hammer to you, it ain't going to your hand.
And then Deshaun Watson continues to be Deshaun Watson of the Browns, not of the Texans, obviously. Yeah, I don't know. Anything more to say about that game?
You would think he would have had a good game in Vegas because I know there's massage. He can get a massage
he can get
24/7.
That's right.
And no one's gonna be squeamish about it in that town.
Just gotta pay up front. That's all.
Right. Somebody's got to step up.
All right. That probably 2 weeks in a row we didn't talk shit about the Raiders. They're 2-2. We'll see what happens.
Hey, they're 2-2, pup. Yeah. So right on.
There you go.
Even though you get that diva now creating a little drama there for you.
Win this week, and the Steelers come in there next week, and that's got wild card implications written all over.
That'll be your second Steeler game in a row, right? Live?
Yes. Crazy. I got 3 in a row. All right. Anyway, I guess the one important game, or at least important team we didn't cover, was the Patriots 13 at the Niners 30. I mean, I don't know what to say about that.
I think you get healthy.
I actually watched a lot of this game.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, but it just didn't. It kind of just didn't matter. It kind of off in the background. And of course, the 49ers are going to win by 2 touchdowns. So, why am I watching?
Right, and who's even playing for the 49ers right now, other than Purdy on offense?
So they got back Kittle. Kittle played.
Okay.
Yeah, that was it.
I think CMC is going to be out for a while.
I mean, did you hear this? He flew to Germany or something to get another. So he may be done for this season.
He just went to Germany to say, tear down that wall. CMC, I think Run DMC is going to be back sooner than CMC. And one of their guys is dead. So you tell me how serious that injury is.
Well, they picked the number 1 in the fantasy team. Anyway, what games haven't we talked about yet? Oh, Rams and Bears. Rams lost 18-24 at the Bears. I didn't watch any of this.
I didn't either.
The Rams are so beat up. It's kind of hard to watch.
But I've always I talk shit about McVay, but obviously he can coach because with all their injuries and they're in all these games.
Yeah.
And
that's Stafford too. Stafford's tough. He's, you know what? I don't think you get enough credit for being as tough as he is, and he's always playing through injuries that you kind of don't hear about or whatever. And yeah, as long as you got Stafford and McVay, they're going to be in every game.
Right. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to do some research. Is Matthew Stafford related to Jim Stafford? You know who Jim Stafford is? Remember that old song? I don't like spiders and snakes.
That's Jim Stafford.
Yeah. That ain't what it takes to love me.
I think we gotta get a clip of that for.
I gotta get
Halloween special.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna find the K-Tel on Spotify, and I'll find that too. We'll have it.
God, is that it? I don't think. I think we covered every game. That can't be possible.
Well, only the games we give a shit about.
Exactly.
Right.
All right, man. That's all I got for this week.
All right, that's all I got.
I literally emptied the notebook.
All right, and you got that Warner Brothers notebook, so
exactly.
This podcast is going national.
This is official.
National.
We are now represented by Warner Brothers Syndication, and we thank you.
Thank you to our loyal fan base. All right, that's all I got. We'll have more. I think I'll pay more attention this week. You know what? Like with the Giants playing Thursday.
All right, so
I almost checked out on the week. I was just a cursory.
Spoiler alert for our listeners, but I am leaving tomorrow, maybe tomorrow Friday, to go see Syracuse play in Vegas, and then I'm leaving from there to go see the Steelers play in Pittsburgh. So I won't see much of anything on
You're
Sunday.
so fucking braggadocious.
I'm just saying.
Your travel plans.
No, I'm
saying, fucking with you.
My point is whatever I come up with next week will be entirely whatever I see on the plane.
Here's what I'm thinking. If we get in here, if we were to do it on Monday or Tuesday, yeah. I guarantee I'll know more about the Steelers game watching it on TV than you will. Leaving that stadium.
Maybe.
Well, it depends.
It depends.
There's a lot of variables.
If it's 40-0 Steelers, then no.
Right.
If it's
But now Mad Pup's thinking of coming down,
exactly
making the drive. Nev's hard on it. Like
you know. All right, guys.
All right, we'll see you next week. Beyond the Quarter Pole. That'll be the title of next week's episode.
Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the show. And follow us on social media to stay in the loop with all things Maddog and Pino. Until next time, keep those ice cubes jiggling.